As a JRM end user, most of your day will at least in part be scheduled by maintaining your tasks and activities. On the home screen, underneath your dashboard, you'll see your task area. Tasks can be applied to you in 3 different ways. You can assign yourself a task. You can have a task assigned to you by somebody else with authority in the system. Or, and this will happen most often, the software itself will assign you tasks based on a new data change, such as a new inquiry came in. To find your tasks, you go to this area just below the dashboard and you can select what kind of view you want to see. If I want to just look at my overdue tasks, I can select that. Overdue tasks with dates will have the date in red. If this task was not overdue, the date would be in black. If I just want to see what's open this month, you can see at this particular point I do not have any tasks open for the month. Once you have your view set the way that you want, then you're able to see a quick summary of what each task entails. These are the most important areas to look at. Firstly, and most obviously, the date. If it's red, it will tell you if it's overdue. Secondly, the subject. And if you hover on this, you'll see a mini menu show more detail on the subject and the status. Thirdly is the name. Now, name is going to be the name of the student most often. Sometimes you might not see anything populate here, and that could be because the task is coming off another object in the system, such as the application object. In this case, you would go over to the Related To column and hover there, and you will be able to see or click into more information regarding this particular task or activity. How do I close out tasks? If you want to close out tasks quickly, you can just click the X. Before I click the X here, I want to see who I'm talking to. So I'm going to click and find that the student involved is Norma Castillo. I'm going to close out the task and put in a note. You can see because I clicked the X button, the task status is already completed. But I could even change it now and say I'm waiting on somebody else or I'm deferring it. Here I could also decide to change the priority from normal to high, which would have a red exclamation mark by it, or leave it as is. And before I finally close out the task, I can decide whether I want to create a new task or a new event based off the completion of this task. For example, I might say, save and make a new task, and I'll say the due date, if she's coming on 9/21, will be 9/19. Call to remind about the visit. Perhaps I want to keep that as a high priority. Now you can see this task has disappeared from my task view, I should, if I look for the next month, see a new task with a priority has just been created for me. And now, if I go into the task, you can see that on each object, and these tabs, students, accounts, applications, really equate to objects or tables with intelligence, if you like. Each table or object has an open activities area, and this is an upcoming activity or task. And it also has an activity history area. And here you can see this is where the task that I just completed has been registered. If I want to see the details, there are my comments. Now if I go back to that activity history view, you can see I can also decide to call Norma and make another task just on the fly. Let's say I called her in a couple of days' time. We'll pretend the future has arrived. Then I can say I can put a subject in here. There's a due date. I can also reiterate that there if I wish. And I can say that I completed the task. Now you can see that not only did I call with a task reminder, but I also have the result of the call there. I can do the same by sending an individual email, should I wish. I'll just start looking at her name, Norma Castillo, and provided she has an email address, which she does apparently, I can then write an email, or if I wanted to, I could select a template from a pre-existing template option. Each object in Salesforce, so we're talking about applications, students, accounts or schools, enrollment history, tests, relationships, extracurricular activities, essays and recommendations, each one has its own activity history. If we go back to the student, you'll see that activities here follow the same pattern. In this case though, we don't have any open activities just on the student object. I hope this has helped you understand how you can use tasks and activity history to keep abreast of your communications with your students.